I am now honored to introduce our commencement speaker to give the keynote address to the class. We are happy to welcome back to campus Dr. Browne, who is Professor Emeritus of Anthropology at Colorado State University. Dr. Browne retired in 2021 after a career marked with multiple accomplishments and prestigious awards. Her work, known for its creativity and originality, has taken her to French Polynesia, the French, Spanish, and British Caribbean, New Orleans, the Texas coast, and Pueblo, Colorado. She is living proof that a liberal arts degree can take you wherever you want to go. For more than 30 years, she posed big research questions to explore how the pressures of adversity gave rise to adaptations that grew out of specific political and economic contexts. In her early work, she documented how Afro-Creole populations in the French colonized Caribbean developed a hidden system of status based on economic cunning and resourcefulness. Her findings changed the way Caribbean scholars understand how culture plays a role in economic life. The life of a scholar is always subject to change. After the historic Hurricane Katrina in 2005 drowned a city and a region she loved, Browne shifted her focus to study a large African-American family of 150 people to try to understand how a long-standing adaptation to plantation slavery gave them the resilience to confront other crises. To communicate her findings to a large audience, she produced a film documentary for PBS and wrote a book that has become standard adoption for courses in disaster studies, research methods, and public anthropology. In 2018, for her scholarship, her applications of anthropological knowledge to improving human condition and creative teaching, Dr. Browne was named recipient of the highest honor in the field of American anthropology, the Franz Boas Award for extraordinary achievements in the field of anthropology. She was also named University Distinguished Professor at CSU, and in 2021, the Society for Economic Anthropology named an award just for her, the Kate Browne Creativity and Research Award. In the course of her career, Kate Browne, product of the liberal arts and a mind charged with curiosity, co-founded the Culture and Disaster Action Network, an academic practitioner collaboration for improving disaster policy and practice, and led the first US-based risk and disaster field school on the Texas Gulf Coast for Colorado State University. It all began with a BA in English and a PhD in anthropology. Browne now lives in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where she continues her work, rides her horses into the wilderness. Please welcome Dr. Kate Browne.
Congratulations. Thank you, Michelle. Good morning, class of 2023. Good morning, parents, friends, family, faculty colleagues, and administrators. Graduates, there's a lot of pride circulating in this room right now. I can see it all over there, all up here, everybody facing you. I can feel it. I bet you can too. I am so honored to be your commencement speaker today. Colorado State University is home to me, and the College of Liberal Arts is the heart center of that home. My life as a professor has been full of meaning and purpose, and getting to know students like you has been a big part of that, feeling inspired by your creativity, your intelligence, and your care about the world. So now that you've earned your college degree, how will you cut a path for yourself through that thorny thicket of crises we are all confronting right now? Which stars will you follow to help guide you into spaces of possibility? Today, I want to give you some encouragement that comes from my life as an anthropologist and from my recent field of study, disasters. I am a disaster anthropologist. Yes, it's a thing. Because as disasters are increasing in intensity, We need to understand their impact, how suffering is not evenly distributed, and what to do about it. Survivors of disaster have a lot to teach us about standing up to adversity and living fully after painful losses. My first disaster study happened after Katrina. Hurricane Katrina shook the nation in 2005, if you can remember back. Much of the Gulf Coast was decimated, and New Orleans, a city I love, was inundated. Katrina alerted many about our rapidly changing world, one where environmental change, racial inequality, and poverty collide to create great calamity. I was curious to learn how a kin group of 150 African Americans manage such a collective tragedy. Curiosity. It's one of the hallmarks of the liberal arts education. It has driven my life and my work. Your classes have helped you develop the habit of curiosity, haven't they? To research, to dig in, to feed your inquisitive spirit. You've learned to exercise your imagination, to see possibilities where they don't appear to others. You've learned to read with care and write with clarity. These are critical skills you develop through the liberal arts, and these are the makings of a toolkit for life. We could call it a life kit. So with your life kit in hand, how will you choose to move forward from here? All paths are winding and full of uncertainties. At first, you might want to choose a wait-and-see path to give yourself time to figure out what's next. Or you might want to move out into the world on a cautious path, in a safe or familiar way. Or you might want to follow a daring path, inspired by a desire to change the status quo. Daring paths require that you leave your comfort zone and befriend uncertainty. Making friends with uncertainty means you give yourself over to something without knowing the outcome. It means you take some risks and search for possibilities in unfamiliar places. And remember, whatever choice you make, you can always change your mind. Nothing is fixed. When I graduated with a BA in English, I explored bravely for a couple of years, and then out of sheer fear that I couldn't pay the bills, I shifted from a daring path to a more cautious path that felt safer. I chose a job in business with a good salary. Everyone around me supported this choice. Thanks to my writing skills and my abilities to think outside the box, I did the work well and I rose to the top. But my heart wasn't in it. So at the age of 34, 10 years after earning my BA, I resolved to start over on a daring path, to go back to school, to get a PhD in anthropology. By that time, I had a lot to lose, and I had to give up my standing, my fat salary, my stylish wardrobe. But once I did, I never looked back. Here's another tip from my career swing. Don't let rocky starts discourage you. After taking the leap into an anthropology PhD program, I confronted the totally unknown. My advisor invited me to be her research assistant. In my first year, for 6 months of data gathering in French Polynesia, on a tiny, tiny little island in the South Pacific, I took a big gulp and said, yes. So for 2 months before we left, I immersed myself in French, a language I did not know. I was excited to meet my host family, an older Tahitian couple who only spoke French. When they saw the bicycle that I had shipped with me, My host exclaimed in French, "Oh, you brought a bicycle here." I cheerfully replied, "Oui, j'ai volé une bicyclette pour ici." Their mouths dropped open, their eyes popped out. My advisor jumped to my rescue, explaining I was still learning French. I had told them that I stole, volé, the bike to use here, instead of saying I wanted, voulu, to have a bike here. But my French improved, and years later, I wrote and produced a French-language documentary film about Afro-Creole women I had researched in the French Caribbean. Women who were changing the culture of business. The film got accepted by the major French TV network in Paris and distributed around the world on global French satellite TV. The lesson is, rocky starts just remind us we still have a lot to learn. Your liberal arts life kit will take you far, but it's your job to build on that foundation so that great things can come from taking small risks. When your heart is in your work, you will wake up motivated and feel happier. And parents, research shows that in a few years after graduation, those educated in the liberal arts surpass their peers in achievement and salaries. I say, I think it's safe for you to feel like you can relax. Public speeches almost always offer specific takeaways. So here are 3 ideas based on my disaster research and my life experience that can add value to your life kit. I hope they can serve you for a lifetime. 1, people who pay attention to what's happening around them are more likely to spot opportunities and solve problems. It seems obvious, right? But you might not have thought about how an active, explicit kind of awareness can really tune you into what's possible. What do you notice about what's happening around you right now? What does a situation need? What are you good at, and what gifts do you recognize in others? When a special moment presents itself, be ready to use what you've got to solve that problem or help someone else bring an opportunity to life. Besides helping you solve problems and spot opportunities, paying attention can save lives. In 2017, Hurricane Harvey blasted 130-mile-an-hour winds into a large area of the Texas Gulf Coast, outside Houston and as far west as Corpus Christi. Amplified by climate change, the storm also unleashed an historic rain bomb that dropped 50 inches of rain over Houston and flooded tens of thousands of homes. How did people respond? I wanted to know. Here's one answer I came upon in my research. In the middle of that chaos, 3 young men noticed that floodwaters had trapped people inside their homes. The friends thought through the problem. How can we use what we know to help out? Okay, almost everybody has a smartphone, and lots of people in Houston have boats in their driveways. What if we link smartphone technology with GPS technology to map the geolocations of stranded residents and for boat owners? That's what they did. By matching up those stranded to those with boats, rescues happened by the dozens and then by the hundreds. Paying attention, using what they knew, and bringing people together to help allowed them to address an urgent problem in a creative way. 3 people saved countless lives. Paying attention includes being alert to the crises that confront our planet, being aware of suffering. These problems are real, but nothing is fixed. So focus your mind on what is possible, and that takes practice. So practice. 2, People who maintain strong connections are healthier and better prepared for adversity. Disasters strip people bare of what they are used to living with, their belongings, their everyday rituals, even their beliefs can take a beating. In the context of loss and upheaval, we who research disasters and trauma have learned that survivors reach quickly to reestablish connections with people they know. Relationships with others help comfort, heal, and inspire. You may not remember the March 2011 catastrophe in Japan. A massive 9.0 earthquake and tsunami flattened entire cities, washing people and property out to sea. The disaster was compounded by structural damage to the Fukushima nuclear power plant, causing a nuclear meltdown. It may surprise you to learn that even amidst the devastation in northeastern Japan, one of the first actions taken by homeowners and Japan's self-defense force was to restore the existing communal baths and create full-size temporary baths. Communal bathing is a centuries-old ritual in Japan. As a practical matter, the temporary baths gave survivors a way to keep clean, Japanese style. But even more important to the feeling of recovery was the familiar comfort of warmth among other humans. Today, when asked why they choose the public baths when they have perfectly good bathtubs at home, still steamy bathers will tell you that the baths are a way to experience a sense of community. Communal connection matters to people in times of trauma as well as ordinary times. The work of neuroscientists and health researchers confirm what the bathers intuitively knew. We are wired to connect with others, and social support and feeling connected bring us significant health benefits. Friends help us celebrate the best days of our lives, and they help us get through the hard days. What could be a better investment? So invest in your relationships. 3, people who have a relationship with the natural world know belonging and peace. The large African-American family I introduced earlier taught me a lot about how a connection with nature restores and recharges life. Before Katrina, all 155 members of this family lived close to each other on the bayou. Their large family system dated back to an adaptation to plantation slavery, and since that time had been a useful way to keep the racism around them at bay. This adaptation depended on sharing across the entire network: skills, resources, food, childcare, social support, and a common belief system. Over the months they were marooned in Dallas, I documented how deeply they longed for the natural world they came from. When they talked about home, they meant their environment of bayous and wetlands, a lush area just beyond their homes where cypress trees abound and pelicans roost on nearby piers. Family members expressed their love for the crab and shrimp and crawfish that had for generations supplied delicious everyday fare for people of modest means like them. They explained how they trained the children of this huge family about the geography and flows of the bayou. The bayou environment was saturated with meaning, and they ached to get back to what made them feel whole. Once they were able to return to this beloved home ground, they found the hurricane had turned the landscape into a wilderness of ruin. Enduring life in tiny FEMA trailers was a great hardship on the network, but they knew where they were and where they belonged. They would recover together with the natural environment that nourished them and gave them strength. This family knew well that Mother Nature can unleash violent storms, tornadoes, wildfires, earthquakes, and more. But because they understood that they were part of nature, their reverence for the natural world was grounded in respect and awe and a sense of belonging. Research documents that when we spend time experiencing our innate belonging to nature, our nervous systems relax, and we gain a cascade of positive health benefits, a greater sense of wholeness and inner calm. So find a park, turn off your phones, sit, look, and listen for the reminders that you are part of the natural world. To summarize and conclude, I say this to all of you graduating. Pay attention to what is happening around you. Look for opportunities to contribute to the good and for how you can offer a hand to someone else. The world needs your brains, your empathy, and your imagination more than ever. Move your social connections up to top priority in your life. All connections are worthwhile, and long-term friendships will provide the quality of connection that can make you a happier person and help see you through whatever comes. Recognize the force of nature and spend quiet time without your devices. Open up to the inspiration this connection with the natural world offers you. Let it help you find your way through the thicket toward what is good and what brings you joy. And never forget that you endured the challenges of lockdowns, masks, isolation, illness, and uncertainty. You made it through a global catastrophe, and your presence here bears witness to your stamina and resourcefulness. And never forget, you have a liberal arts life kit that prepares you, unlike any other, to think and imagine, to care about beauty and about suffering, to understand the human condition, and to contribute greatly to a better world. As soon as I step away from the podium, each of you will hear your name called and will step forward to receive your passport to a world of opportunity. You are ready. You forever hold the Bachelor of Arts degree. Congratulations, good luck, and may you find blessings everywhere your journey takes you.